Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Just Enough to Suffer. My name is Lou. I'm joined here by my friend Greg, and we are here to talk about the New York Jets, a 3-2 football team heading into mid-October, getting ready for a big showdown. I would say, last week was obviously a very big game. I think this is a pretty big show-up spot for this team coming up against the Packers. Game of the week on Fox, coming off a big win, 3-2, starting to hear some rumblings that the Jets might be like a sneaky little team, and we went from a doormat to everybody's favorite little sleeper in the matter of a week. So that is not good vibes for me personally, because we know how that goes typically. But we're going to talk about it a little bit more. We're going to talk a little playoff picture. I think Greg's starting to get a little spicy too on his end. So we'll talk playoff picture and schedule. As I've been saying for the past few months, win this game Sunday, and the Bills game will be for first place, and that will be a big moment. So we'll get into that too. We'll talk about the Packers game. And then, I probably won't be able to help myself. I will be bringing up the Astros at some point, coming off another.
Just get it out now, because it's a. I want you to have the floor.
Oh yeah, okay, good. Yeah, I mean, listen, 2-0 Astros in the series. This series was nothing more than a tune-up. I've always said that from the beginning. The real series starts in the World Series. We have the Yankees after this. We'll beat the shit out of them. We'll get to the World Series, and then we'll play a real team, probably the Dodgers or the Phillies. It seems like we're kind of heading towards. And that'll be how that goes. Yordan Alvarez is the best hitter in baseball. There's no denying it. Would suck to be a fan of a team that isn't in the playoffs right now. I'll let Jay speak to that in a little bit. He's currently chewing on some food. I did that purposely because I knew he would jump in. And that's all I have to say about the Astros right now. I think it's early still. I don't expect this Mariners series to really be scary or worrisome in any way. They'll probably lose on Saturday because the first playoff game in Seattle in 50 gazillion years, because they're a doormat of a franchise. And here we go.
Yeah, I mean, watching game one, it was a typical sports playoff thing where the Mariners were coming in off of a series and the Astros had however many days off, right? So obviously the Mariners are going to come out a little hot. It's kind of the same thing the Rangers did with the Lightning, where they had 9 days off. And then, if they don't steal that game one, then they probably just barrel through them in games 2, 3, and 4, and then the series is over. That shit always equals out. But I mean, we're all unbiased, not a dog in the fight type of guy I am right now. I just want to see the Astros beat the absolute dog shit out of the Yankees. I look forward to that every year in the playoffs now.
That's great.
My favorite thing.
It's awesome being the real big bad when someone thinks they're the bully, but you're really the bully. It's a really good feeling. It's a really good feeling knowing that the Yankees are going to walk into this series. Their fans spent all season long. We're going to win 120 games, blah, 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 blah. You're going to beat the Astros. They suck. Aaron Judge, MVP, Garrett Cole. He's the ace. He makes $300 million. You can't beat him. They ended up winning 99 games. They're in a series with the Guardians. They're going to take care of the Guardians, and then they're going to come play a real team. They're going to come down to Houston for 3 games, as many games as they're going to get in Houston, and they're going to get their ass kicked, and that's just how it's going to go. I'm really I'm a little to say I'm worried would be untrue. The only thing that concerns me is the only thing I think that concerns me about the Yankees is if we can't figure out how to get through that lineup one or two times a game quickly, we can get in trouble. The Astros have a way of, throwing a lot of balls, walking a lot of guys. Keep the ball in play. I have no worries about the flyouts. All these teams are going to, all the flyouts that team is going to do. They don't really put the ball in play. They're a home run or bust team. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, and I mean, if it comes down to it, we both know that Aaron Judge is going to strike out whenever it matters.
That's exactly right. In the big moment when it counts, the MVP, Mr. 62 home runs, Mr. Captain Yankee, complete loser, liar, has been telling lies for 5 years, will strike out. And that's all that matters. And I'm going to save it because I really have a lot of hatred in the Astros, a lot of hatred in my heart for the Yankees. So I'm trying to save it, but I hate them and I can't wait to beat the shit out of them again.
This is my favorite time of year, regardless, just because I get to live through you and just see the side of Lou that I don't get to see for the 11 months out of the year, because you're pretty tame during the season with the Astros, just like a fan of a good team. When the playoffs come around, I look forward to the group chat because it's a whole different level.
Yeah, and it's also the Astros have been the only good team I've had for the last 5 years
Right.
because I really only had the Jets and the Astros, and the Jets have been obviously bad. So I've really full sent into the Astros, and like you're saying, during the season I keep it pretty tame because it's a very long season, and I ultimately know it doesn't matter until we get to the playoffs anyway. The Astros are always going to win the division; they're always going to have the first or second best record in the AL, so it doesn't matter until now anyway. So I try to conserve my energy as much as I possibly can. Hello, Jay.
I'm so happy I finished eating in time to turn this back into a Jets podcast.
Yeah, well,
15 minutes on the Astros, and baseball's dead to me. I'm bitter. I'm just a bitter Mets fan. I'm bitter, and all I want out of this entire playoff situation is for you to trounce the Yankees. Please, just trounce the Yankees. You know what bothers me, just in sports in general, but like especially with baseball, like you as a fan, you go through such a grind of a 162 game freaking regular season where the Mets win 101 games and beat the ever living shit out of the Phillies all year. And then we get to the playoffs and the Phillies get hot, the Mets get cold. Now the Phillies are playing, and it's like I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Yeah,
I'm really upset.
One of the unfortunate things about baseball is that the 162 doesn't matter, but it really tells you who you are. And the Mets are exactly who we thought they were. They had really good pitching, and they had no lineup whatsoever. And if their pitching didn't show up, they didn't have a shot. And that's exactly what happened in the Padres series.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's why baseball, it's tough for me to the whole 162.
Yeah, but 82 basketball games, you have no problem, right?
No, absolutely.
Right. Just making sure I understand that.
That and then like 37, 38 college basketball games. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Plus the tournament runs, and yeah, that's what
listen. This basketball is like a much easier watch, right? Like I don't know what the fuck's going on in baseball. Yeah, well, for me, because baseball too, like basketball, I understand what's good and what's not. Baseball, there's so many different numbers with letters and shit that I don't even understand. Like apparently wins isn't a thing anymore.
What did you just say? What with numbers?
Like
letters with numbers?
Yeah, like the guy is WXKZ. Like,
oh, you mean like advanced stats? I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, like that shit. Like, it's just like, what is this?
Yeah, they definitely don't do advanced metrics in basketball. That's never been
but baseball, like, I just don't fucking understand it.
Yeah, you're not a baseball guy.
No,
it's not your thing. It never has been your thing.
Do you guys have the game on in the background, the football game?
No, I made him turn it off
because Justin Fields is fucking horrible. He just threw You guys, wait till you see the interception he just threw. Off of his own offensive lineman's helmet. Just bounced up in the air and just right into a defensive lineman's hands. Like
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, he stinks. That
guy.
Someone
we knew had a prop bet on Justin Fields to throw over 178 passing yards, that would stink. I'm not one of those people. Neither is Greg. Neither are you. But we might have a friend named Sean who was adamant about Justin Fields going over tonight.
I mean, he got some yards on that drive. He just took him down to the 5-yard line and threw an interception.
17 yards passing.
2:18 left in the first. Justin Fields is 4 for 6 with 43 yards. So we just need
over 4 quarters.
He's right on pace.
Yeah, you're right. He is on pace. That's not
right on pace.
Just needs one 6-yard slant to Darnell Mooney, and he's right on track. Okay, so let's talk about the Jets game last week. Sunday was a great feeling. It felt good.
How was the atmosphere? Because you both were there, right?
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. It was the best the stadium's felt in a really long time, from the beginning to the end. There was energy the entire time. It helped that we were playing against an absolute dope at quarterback. It helped that we have 2 of the best cornerbacks in the NFL who just lock everything down. And it helps to have a quarterback who can move around and make some plays. And it feels real good. It feels real good, boys.
Yeah, I think that I think that like the energy was a little weird. So we were winning the game, right? But like until they missed that field goal, that we were up 19-17, late third, they missed that field goal, I think early fourth, whatever that was. The fans, I think, had there was energy, but it was almost like a little bit of a nervous energy for a little while.
People were scared.
And it got quiet because like we were up 19-7, and then we let them sneak back in. And if they would have hit that field goal, they would have been beating us, 2019. And then we just trounced them after that. But I don't know. Like, I remember thinking at times, like, I can't believe we're winning against the Dolphins right now. And it's a big game and there's not more crowd noise. But then in the fourth quarter, the crowd noise really, once we started to make some moves in the fourth, the crowd started going crazy. And I like that new tradition that we're starting with the crowd singing.
Oh, I hate that.
Unison.
I've been
You
talking
hate
to
that?
Greg about. I hate it, Jay.
Oh, I liked it.
It's so corny and so cringy. I do think what they should do is at the end of it, it should be in the home of the Jets. The whole place doing the home of the Jets would be electric.
Lou, do you guys sit in Fireman Ed? You're in Fireman Ed section, aren't you?
We're near him. Yeah, we're near him.
Yeah. I was on the other side in the visitor side club.
Yeah, you're in like the Dolphins thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Commissioners Club, is that what it's called?
50-50 club, I think.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, it was definitely a weird energy, and that was kind of part of the reason why I liked it so much, because it was like everyone was waiting for us to make a mistake and for something bad to happen and the team to lose. And instead, we caught a break because they missed a field goal. And then what did we score? 14 points in 14 seconds? Was that the stat that came up? And the game was pretty much over at that point, because
it was so awesome.
It was only a matter of time before the Jets realized that Skylar Thompson couldn't throw the ball inside the numbers, and all we had to do was just stop the outside guys, and it was going to be fine.
Well, because it played out the typical Jets game, right? Where on paper you look at the stats, you're like, we should be blowing this fucking team out, and then you look at the score, and it's late in the third. They're hanging around, and it's just a typical like a fumble here, a bad snap there. Like the Dolphins are somehow winning, and then the Jets. So I totally, because it felt weird when my dad and I were just watching at home. That's how we felt. And then, like you said, the missed field goal, Zach hits Corey for like 20-something yards, and then we're off and rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Waddle, shit. Tyreek Hill didn't do shit. Tyreek Hill got his ass thrown halfway across to Rutherford. It was so great. And then I'll tell you what else I really love, Greg, about the atmosphere. We had so many punk ass Dolphin fans in my section.
Oh,
just talking
the MetLife takeover.
Yeah, the MetLife takeover and all the bullshit. And then we just like they shut up in that third quarter. They were talking so much shit like when they were coming back, and I was like, oh God, if we lose this game, I'll never forgive the Jets. To a third string quarterback at home, like I'm walking out of here listening to that shit. But I've seen, like I said last week, I've seen so many losses to the Dolphins in a row. I've been to a lot of them because I've been to a lot of MetLife and obviously down here in Florida. And I'm sick of losing those guys. So it was nice to get it done.
100%.
The worst argument in sports to me is, well, if we had X, Y, Z healthy, we would have beat you. That's not how sports works.
Yeah, I mean, that's just not how it works.
That's to me, like, because it happens. I think it happens more in basketball, right? Where it's just like, oh, if Kevin Love and Kyrie weren't hurt in that first finals, like the Cavs would have won. It's just like we could do that for quite literally every single championship in the history of sports. If this didn't happen, then they don't win. No shit, right?
Eagles won the Super Bowl with their backup quarterback. It's been so done. Tom Brady was a backup quarterback. Like, you got to win games with who you have.
You play who you play when you play them. That's the schedule. Like, it's
like, hey, the Jets are down 27 offensive tackles. We play without our starting quarterback for the first few weeks. Like, we're not exactly the healthiest team in the world either. Like, let's not pretend that we're just like in this perfect situation where everything we do is going to work for us.
Right. Like, I'm not going to apologize for beating whoever. You play, but you figure it out.
No,
figure it out.
We had Joe Flacco the first couple of weeks, and like we played games last year with Mike. It is what it is. That's
it is
football.
what it is.
Especially with like protocol and everything. Like you got to have a capable backup, third string situation, because you're probably gonna at some point have to use them.
Yeah, when you repeatedly break the rules and put your players in danger, bad things are gonna happen.
True.
Yeah, when Sauce Gardner runs free and just absolutely demolishes your quarterback on the first play of the game, maybe you want to block that guy. He's pretty good.
I would consider maybe a little chip from the running back. I don't know.
Yeah.
Coach Dernu over here.
Something to think about. What are you going to say, Greg?
We've gone from people just constantly like shitting on the Jets, rightfully so, right? This team hasn't done anything. But now like the national media is like, they see the Jets might have something. So now there's been a lot of like digs at the Jets, right? It's like I saw something where it's like Christian Darrisaw is only allowed 7 pressures, while AVT is allowed 14. And it's like, okay, cool. How many positions has Christian Darrisaw played?
Yeah, and also like
who
great for Christian Darrisaw playing well.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like it's just like it's obvious because they're going to get the engagements, right? But it's also just like, okay, sick, like cool. Yeah. Chicago's backup running back has just as many yards as Michael Carter. Awesome. Couldn't care less about that fucking guy.
Means nothing to me,
right? And then now too, the Zach thing. It's so polarizing to people because I think when we all expected, hey, Zach's got to do this. He's got to play at this level, right, to be a franchise QB. And then this last week, he does everything that he needs to do. He found it. He does everything that he needs to do to win a game, has like no turnover worthy plays. And people are like, well, wish we would have got more out of Zach. Okay, if 9 inches separates Zach from having 4 passing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. And then somehow the narrative changed on that. I just don't understand that.
Yeah, people are box score watching as always, and also like I wanted to talk about Zach from like a the quote unquote game manager standpoint. It's like I don't know, that's kind of what I wanted him to be. I'm not expecting him to be,
if that's
24 for 35. Yeah, I'm not expecting 24 for 35 for 325 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like I'm just not. That's just not what I need from him. 210 and what should have been 2 touchdowns and no turnovers. Sign me up every single week with our run game, with the way our defense is playing. Sign me up every single week for 14 for 23 and 210 yards. No issues.
Yep. And he's got the talent, and we have the weapons for him. If we get in a spot, he can go for 350 and 3 touchdowns.
For real. And let him learn on the job while he's winning games. Like, that's the best case scenario. Like Josh Allen, I don't want to compare him necessarily to Josh Allen, but Josh Allen stunk his first year. And but he played, and then he got better. It grew second year, third year, obviously, and you have what you have now. But like, I think that Zach Wilson at this point in his career, was is playing better than Josh Allen was at 15, 16 games in his pro career. So.
Yeah, I mean, the scheme fits Zach perfectly. We have the guys that can get yards after the catch. It's a lot of, like play action type stuff where you see them they played very well with play action. They have a run game. They have capable tight ends. Like that's really all that you needed. And look, lo and behold, like they have
shocker. The offense is working well.
Team. Yeah, when the offensive coordinator can get the guys that he wants in his system, it starts to go well. Who would have thought? Dwayne Brown coming back, huge, gigantic. I liked the quote from LaFleur today where he was saying after he got hurt, they pretty much expected Dwayne Brown to retire, and he was like, "No, I'm coming back. Like I'll be back." And it's funny what happens when you're playing competitive games and you're winning games. You get these guys who get hurt that want to come back and play more. Exactly.
Certain people may get hurt and not come back, but that's a different story entirely. Yeah, I don't know. A couple things I wanted to point out coming away from the game. One on offense is the dual running back set that we're running with Carter and Brees at the same time is causing havoc to these defenses, and they can't figure it out. They can't figure it out because both guys are really effective running the ball, which is exactly what we wanted. And there's a lot of options for zone reads out of that, RPOs coming out of that. Are those the same thing, zone read and RPO? Zone read is like you can Zach can pull it, right? Is that how that works?
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of the same
thing?
principle.
Okay, fine.
I'm sure there'll be some nerd on here that says, well, the basis of the RPO, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, exactly. So there's all the RPO stuff coming out of it. They got this Brees swing play coming out of the backfield. That's awesome. Having the 2 running backs there opens things up for the tight ends and the receivers. It's fantastic, and I love it. On defense, obviously, we don't have to talk about we could talk about the corners a little bit more, but it's pretty obvious that Sauce Gardner is the best defensive rookie in the NFL, and DJ Reed might have been the best signing of the entire offseason across the league because he's been unbelievable since he showed up. That was an obvious one. The other thing I wanted to point out was Greg's guy, Carl Lawson. I was getting a little worried. He's finally coming back up to speed. He's getting healthy. He looks a lot faster. I think he leads the league in pressures. Is that right? And the sacks are coming fast. He looks fast, and the sacks are coming in.
Like he's getting out of his that's a guy who like I think that's I didn't want to hit the panic button too early on him just because he looked great in the preseason and limited time, but NFL game speed coming off of an Achilles, that's one where you kind of just gotta work your way in. And honestly, I didn't think it'd be this quick through 5 weeks where we're starting to see this form of Carl Lawson, but as we move on, if we're going to keep getting this, that's scary with the way that Quentin Williams is playing as well. That's why you sign a guy like Carl Lawson, because you're expecting Q to have a season or be a player that he is right now. Yep. And that's kind of what the Jets have been missing, right? And like with Q, say what you want about it. I mean, he's been fine. He's obviously not a number 3 overall guy for the first 4
Quentin
years.
Williams has been fantastic. I don't give a fuck about his draft value. He's been fucking.
No. No, I'm saying up until now, but
Yeah.
they were always missing that one guy, off the edge that can
I
take
understand.
a little bit away from Q. And now that that's happening, he is just dominating games.
And I also, just coming out of that, I think, and Jay, I know you had some thoughts too. I just wanted to put out a couple things. Like, we've had a lot of issues with the rotation on the defensive line so far. Last week, Carl Lawson 73%, John Franklin Myers 66%, Nathan Shepard 22%. Fuck yeah, Sheldon Rankin 64%, and I believe I can't find Quinn in here, but I think he was over like 80% of the snaps. So it's like we're figuring it out. Things are working out.
Bryce
They're
Huff
learning
should
as they
never be
play.
inactive the rest of the season.
No, he needs more snaps, not less. Quinn Williams at 70% of the snaps. Perfect. Don't want anything else. Get the guys who matter on the field at the most valuable moments, and the other guys can come in and make plays too. Go ahead, Jay.
While you guys are talking stats and numbers and RPOs and technical nerd shit, I'm here to talk about the things that actually matter. Guys, I love like when a player is so loved by the entire stadium that like their name becomes like the chant when they make play. Like it was Toon, and then it was Hugh with Hugh Douglas, and like you don't remember Hugh Douglas?
That's before my time, Jay.
It was like early like late 90s, or he was a
before my time.
First round draft pick guy. Got a lot of stats. He was really good.
Got it.
But anyway, anytime you have a guy that's named, you can do the Toon, or you can do the Hugh, or we got a guy. We got Brees. The whole crowd.
The whole stadium does it. It's awesome.
Everything.
Yeah.
It's so awesome.
Brees.
It's so good, and it's so much fun to yell after. Like that big long wheel route, I was going bananas, just screaming Brees for like 30 straight seconds. It was awesome.
Went down on the one. He couldn't get in there.
Oh,
dude, he got robbed of 2 touchdowns. Shout out Michael Carter, guy just a vacuum, just sneaking up all these touchdowns.
Zach,
he's gonna have like 10 touchdowns this year. Michael Carter.
He's trying to pump my PC. I just finished the rainbow. He's trying to pump my PC. I respect.
Yeah, there you go.
Zach's got so many throws that are like would-be touchdowns where a guy's caught within like the 3. It's unbelievable. But like, that shit usually evens out.
100%.
He had some nice throws in that game. He had a couple eye-opening throws.
And he looks settled and comfortable.
Yeah. I'm feeling
that's the difference from this year to last year. Like, I think he's calmed down a little bit with like and his processing speed, I think, has gotten a lot quicker. But to your point, I think the most impressive thing and the thing that gives me the most hope is that he does not look. There's not been a play this season where he has looked flustered. There's
no fear in his eyes ever, and the throws he's deciding to make throws that are like big boy throws, and it's really easy to just keep it to the cheap stuff. That's like the game manager stuff people talk about. Keep it to the cheap stuff, the little underneath things, blah blah blah. He's throwing the ball down the field in tight spots often. That's a good sign. He still can't throw a swing pass to save his life, to a dump off to running back. Can't do it to save his life, but that's fine. That'll come.
I'm totally fine if that's the thing we're going to
me too. Put those in the dirt. I don't care.
But it's like, if he's going to keep, if they're going to keep giving him 6, 7, 8 yards underneath to throw it, like, so you're telling me you'd rather your QB not to do that just to try to go, like we went through this last year. Like, just give it to, you get into a guy like Elijah Moore, that's an extra 6, 7 yards. Garrett Wilson is just a touchdown waiting to happen every time he touches the ball. Corey Davis is coming up with big catches week after week. Then you get guys like Michael Carter who somehow just picks up like 7, 8 yards every time he touches the ball. It's unbelievable. And then you got a guy like Brees who's just a battering ram. Like the offense. Like
not only is he a battering ram, sorry to interrupt you. Not only is he a battering ram, he has like real moves in the holes.
Yeah,
like when he's trying to make a decision.
Yeah,
and he commits. It's awesome.
That's why he was RB1. That's why he was running back 1.
It's kind of annoying, and what I want to talk to you about is like, where do you think we're still making mistakes and not playing well? Because everything we've been talking about for the last few months of like wanting to see is happening in front of our eyes. And it's a little bit concerning because these things don't happen to us. So I'm a little bit scared and a little bit nervous. But it's just really exciting to see like all these good things happen repeatedly week in and week out now, it feels like.
Yeah.
I think that might be a little quick pull on the week in and week out, but it feels really good.
I mean, it's seeing what we saw in the first 3 weeks with Flacco and then going to Zach, like I truthfully did not think it was going to happen this quick, but this team looks like Zach has had a whole offseason and a whole preseason, and they're just rolling right now. And I also want to shout out Quan Alexander. That guy might be my favorite Jet.
I love him
right now.
His energy is unbelievable. He hits so hard.
He hits.
He hits the shit out of people. It's wild.
I'm sorry. I'm reacting to what's going on. I'm listening. I'm fully tuned into what's going on the podcast, but Justin Fields just missed a wide open touchdown by about 7 yards on like a 5-yard pass. I've never seen a worse throw in my life. This guy's terrible.
Man, imagine wanting to draft that guy 2 years ago. Couldn't be me.
Wait till you see how terrible that pass was.
Couldn't be me.
It was a play action on the 5-yard line. The tight end was wide open in the end zone. He just airmailed it over his head. It was so bad.
Justin Fields update, 4 for 7, 43 yards with 12 minutes left in second quarter.
Just brutal.
Anything else? Quan Alexander, anything else you wanted to say on that, Greg?
No,
And him in general as a human?
His energy, like you guys said, his energy, every hit is a hit stick hit. Like he is flying all over the field.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the piece we needed because Quincy Williams, I mean, he's energy guy, big energy guy, but Quan is a really good linebacker. Yeah,
it's clear he's a much better linebacker than we've had recently.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy that Quincy's all right. It looked like when he went down, I thought he was done. I thought he was going to be done for the year, but to have him back to the team was unbelievable.
I thought the same thing about Jermaine Johnson this week. I watched him hobble off on Sunday, and I was like, "Oh no, he's gonna be out for the year. He broke his foot, but he's okay."
Good. Even him, he's playing like it is. I mean, this feels just kind of like a.
It feels weird, right? It's confusing
because we're just talking about all these exciting things.
I know.
Like we for the past fucking 5-7 decades, like whatever, we just talk about the negatives, and now things are cooking, and it's all we want to do is talk about the good things. It's so much fun.
So nice. It's so refreshing, and not only that, but the funny thing is, there's such good vibes in like New York right now because the Giants are 4-1. That like some Giants fans are even getting along. Like I've been getting text messages from my Giant fan friends, and they're like, "Good for you guys." They're like rooting for the Jets to win because they're 4-1.
I like when the Giants are good. I don't give a shit if the Giants are good or bad.
Yeah, I mean, my Giant fan friends don't typically like, it's like my Yankee fan friends like to bust my balls for being a Mets fan. Like Giant fans usually are not nice to me, on football Sundays. They bust my balls nonstop. But now there's like we're rooting for each other because they've both been so bad for so long. It's nice to get a little happiness, and then eventually, when we're both good, then we'll be back to hating each other.
Yeah, and it's gonna be even better because the Mets got eliminated because they choked, and then the Yankees are gonna be out in like a week or so. So it'll be all focused on football.
I've been focused on football since the Mets lost to the Braves, to be honest. Like in that 3-game series, I was like, this season's over. I knew once they were in the wild card round, they had no chance.
Yeah.
The thing about this team too is that everyone is just super likable. Like they all seem like they love playing with each other. The whole young thing, like they're all kind of coming up in the league together. That's one thing too, where like my dad pointed it out, was just like these dudes just love playing with each other. I love too.
That. I mean, their draft class this year is borderline absurd. How good it is.
It's ridiculous. And we talked about it in our group chat, was that they're young enough where they don't give a shit about like the LOL Jets, and the Jets have done,
they've been making that very clear. They've been making that very clear.
I love that. Like they don't give a shit. Like we weren't, like how many times do they have to say we weren't here? We don't care. Like that's old news. I mean, Sauce throwing up peace sign after the interception, Michael Carter doing the waddle. Like this team is it's so much fun. Garrett Wilson screaming in that kid's face. Like when's we're just having a blast every time we play football.
Yeah, and just speaking about the love and everything, I wanted to pull this tweet up on the screen. Very, very funny.
That was funny as hell.
This new thing where this team is just crushing their teammates because they're doing ads is very, very funny. The comments are awesome. Michael Carter, Broad is shaving his dead skin off. Brees crushed him. DJ being a nice guy, being like, "Yeah, bro, like good job with the ad." Quan's killing him. Our boy Mekhi Becton. I don't even know who the other person is.
Yeah,
it's good. And then Gillette, bro, mad smooth. Very, very funny. Just really funny stuff going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Before we jump into the Packers, can we talk about something real? Well, it is kind of Packers. It is Packers related for sure. Lou, I've been trying. Aislinn and I were trying so hard to get to Green Bay this weekend. I know you're going, right? You're going to be there.
I will be there this weekend. Yeah.
I have never in my life getting to Green Bay.
You got to fly to Chicago.
Might as well be getting to Baghdad, Iraq. Like you cannot. It's impossible to get there. You can't get there.
Yeah. It actually is really hard to
Of
get.
all the places you could have picked Baghdad.
Listen, I'm just
I
saying.
think
Like,
there's
I mean,
direct
that would
flights
be a
to
tough
Baghdad.
place
They
to
don't have
fly,
direct.
dude. You
There's-
cannot. I tried
Baghdad
so
more developed than Green Bay.
I tried so many different ways to get to
Why
Green
was
Bay,
Aaron
and
Rodgers
then
go there?
so yeah, you're right, Luce. You got to fly to Chicago, then you got to drive 3 hours from Chicago up to Green Bay, and then I was looking and the hotels. It's like a 1.5-star hotel for $489 because it's like football. And like, how many hotels are there up there? It was
Yeah,
bizarre.
it's like going to a college town. It's crazy.
It was going to be like $3,000 for the two of us to do this trip. Like at the end of the day, and I was like, I'm just not doing. I could have gone to Denver for like an eighth the price the following week. So I backed out on the last. I really want to go to Lambeau, but that's crazy to me how difficult it is to get there.
Yeah, it's obviously. I will go anywhere for the Jets. I'm a psychopath. I'll fly anywhere. It doesn't matter. Money is no object to me because the sun's gonna explode. So who really cares? But like,
true.
You fly into Chicago.
What it would look like if the meteor hit Earth?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it's like. That's how I feel when the Astros lose.
Patiently waiting.
But yeah, you fly into Chicago. What we're gonna do is fly into Chicago. We rented a car. We're gonna drive up Sunday morning, and then Sunday night we're gonna drive back and stay in Chicago because you're right. The hotels are out of control. Absolutely. It's like going to. I don't know if you've ever been to like Ohio State, Michigan, Tuscaloosa is probably like this. Georgia, Athens, probably like this. Like all the hotels are sold out because these franchises are so popular that everything gets booked out immediately. So there's nothing left, and everything that's left is horrible.
Tuscaloosa is wild.
The game tickets are really expensive too. Like
they were very expensive.
That trip was just absolutely wild. I didn't really. I mean, I guess I should have. It's Green Bay, but like in my head, I'm like, of all the stadiums to visit, like I didn't think Green Bay, Wisconsin was going to be like the most expensive one to go to. But
that's all they have.
Yeah, it's probably like going to Notre Dame. Like Notre Dame games are impossible to get to. Buffalo's easier to Buffalo's
they're cheap.
Significantly easier to get to.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but that's all they have there is for Bills.
Well, University
shithole of a city. That's
that place sucks.
Child.
It's crazy. The thing that's crazy is about the Buffalo Stadium, and we'll do that and when we play them in a month or two up there or whatever. But the way that
play here.
Well, we play them up there in like a month or two, like I said. Yeah, right. Yeah, because they play 2 games. Yeah, we're in the division, so we play 1 game here and then 1 game there, like a month or 2.
Jay, did you know that we play division teams twice?
Well, you made it sound like we only play them once and we play them at home. I was saying.
Well, I thought you were talking about the one before the bye, but I forgot.
No, that's a home game. I know that's a home game.
Bye. I booked my trip up for Buffalo for the home game. I'm excited.
That's going to be for the share of first place. I don't even remember what I was going to say about Buffalo because Greg interrupted me and broke my brain.
Well, it probably wasn't good anyways because that place fucking sucks.
Yeah, just like everything else you say. So the Packers game is going to be a big game, and I'm really excited. I wanted to say that this is the first time that I'm in this headspace where like I'm pretty sure we can win this game, but I almost and here's where I get greedy and stupid. I almost don't want to win. Because there's no way we're going to win 5 games in a row.
Says who?
Says me. That I don't have that in me yet.
If that happened, look, it's funny you bring that up because I am also in like this weird headspace where, like, I think in years past, if something were like this to happen, I'm like nervous about everything. But since there's like really no carryover from like the super bad Jets teams. Like of significance, it's like a new leaf. It's like turning over a new leaf. But like I
guess you're right.
You know, like just going into it, just kind of just being like, hey, who says we can't beat the Packers, right? Who says we can't beat Denver? Like it's just one of those different headspaces. Like fuck it, let's roll. Let's see what happens.
I see us going up there to Green Bay and winning that game, and then coming home with the elite 4-2 vibes 3 in a row and throwing up a stinker against Belichick at home and just really crushing our souls. That's what the same old Jets situation.
The thing I'm worried about is at Denver because they historically suck at Denver.
Yeah, so coming up right now, it's Packers.
Denver.
It's at Packers, at Denver, home for the Patriots, home for the Bills, bye week. The reason why I say I would rather lose this game now and get it out of the way is because I'm in my head thinking about the wild card race, and it's like I'd rather have an AFC win than an NFC win. And I'm probably way too early on all this stuff. Don't be ridiculous. They're probably really a 7-win team. But for now, I will say we're going to need the AFC win. So if we're going to lose one of these 4 or one of the next 3, I'd prefer it to be this game.
I don't want to lose any.
Me either.
They should just go 17-0. You know, don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, they should run the undefeated play.
I don't know why LaFleur. I don't know why LaFleur hasn't pulled the touchdown play more.
Just call the touchdown play, and there's no problems.
What are you looking at on that goddamn Surface tablet, Mike?
Where do you see us getting in trouble in this game? Because it seems to me so far from what I've seen from them, their passing offense is not great. It's Alan Lazard and Romeo Dobbs and Randall Cobb and Robert Tonyan. But the real issue I can see is Aaron Jones running all over us, A.J. Dillon running all over us, because our run defense is not very good. Like, let's call it what it is at this juncture of the season. So that seems like our biggest worry going into this game. But if we could sell out to beat the run, I trust Sauce and DJ on those two guys one-on-one all game long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, with Rodgers, there's always the fear that this is going to be the game that he figures it out and everything starts clicking. So that's kind of where I'm at. I think the run game, I mean, I saw it in the New England game. I didn't watch much of the Giants. I didn't watch any of the Giants. But they tried to establish the run too much to a point. I think they're going to probably try to pick on the Jets linebackers a lot. But yeah, I mean, the thing that scares me the most is that all of these drops and all the miscommunications that have been happening with the Packers and their passing game so far, that starts to shift, and that happens today. And even looking ahead to Denver, that's kind of another thing too, where in my head, I like that Russell Wilson that's when it starts to click for them. That's my biggest, I think that's where my headspace is still conditioned to think what can go wrong will go wrong, is that these teams start to figure it out, and it's against the Jets.
I hear you on that, but Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Deontay Johnson, George Pickens.
That's also and that kind of goes back to the quarterback play, right? With Hill and Waddle, we saw what they wanted to do was just try to get them and get that underneath stuff, and then have them run after the catch, right? Because you have a guy like Skylar Thompson, you really have to limit the playbook. And then even Kenny Pickett, he had a couple of good throws, right, to Pickens. So it's not they did a good job against Lamar, but I don't know how much I could put a stock into that. Burrow, I thought Burrow played pretty well, but it's
this is a big game for them. Then this is hey, Sauce Gardner, you think you're the rookie of the year? I know I said this last week, but Sauce, you think you're the rookie of the year? Let's see it. TJ Reed, you're a big free agent signing. Let's see it. Let's have a big prove it game. Let's shut them up again, because for all it is and all it isn't, I think we're 7-point underdogs going into this game, and that line seems wrong to me, and seemed wrong to me last week too. You think 7 points is a fair number?
Yeah, and Lambeau. Yeah. And I don't think LaFleur has lost. What was this? I think they're 10-0 coming off a loss going back home.
But what's that got to do with playing against
24-2? They're 24-2 at home under LaFleur.
This game is a crossroads game for the Packers, because if you think about it,
100% it is.
If you think about it, they just lost to the Giants in London. If they come home and they lose to the Jets at home,
and they barely squeaked out the Patriots game against Bailey Zappi or whatever the hell his name is.
It's disaster time for them. They're not going to recover. They're not going to recover if they lose to us at home. Their season, you'll see that a loss like this to the Jets at home would break them. I think
this is actually a really big spot for them. They have us this week, and then they're at the Commanders, at the Bills, at the Lions. That's a tough stretch. 3 straight games on the road is not easy.
I think the only really tough one is the Bills. Lions.
3 straight games on the road is the point I'm saying. That's not easy.
The Lions.
I also do think it's kind of a fuck you game for the Jets, because they had the option to take the post London bye, and I'm pretty sure there's maybe a little call hey, we're not going to take the bye after London. Throw us a bone. And then they just threw the Jets in there. You can't tell me that that's not being brought up in that locker room. Hey.
Of course it is. And it's Mike's brother. It's Salah's best friend. There's some gamesmanship going on, just like last week. And by the way, let's talk about the gamesmanship from that dope in Miami last week. He is a nerd. That guy has no chance in the NFL.
Lou, did you see the text I sent to you guys?
What about the ping pong table or whatever?
That the ping pong table wasn't taken out because they were leaders. It was taken out because the ping pong table was bent, and that the players wanted to replace it with a new one, so they got a custom ping pong table on the way.
Yeah, Greg just went to the bathroom. That was really confusing to me, Jay, because it was like your typical like loser manager story, right? Or head coach story where it's like, hey, we fixed up the locker room. The guys are taking it serious. He's like 5 games into his NFL career. Like, why are we already doing things like that?
When you sent that text yesterday, and I saw that, I was like, I rubbed my hands. I was like, oh, it's starting to unravel in Miami already. 2 losses is all it took with that dope. That guy sucks. That team sucks. I was not impressed with Miami at all. I haven't been impressed with Miami really all season. Even in the Buffalo game that they won, that miracle they won that game, they got trounced. If you look at the stats in that game, they got the shit kicked out of them. They somehow managed to eke out a win by some miracle, but like they're not a good team. They suck.
Yeah, I don't think they're that good of a team either. And obviously, they're playing with a 3rd-string quarterback, so you have to put that in context and all of those things. And Greg is back, but like it's still they never impressed me going into the game with Tua or without Tua. They weren't that exciting of a team, right? So anyway, I want to focus on the Packers. Yeah, they have a good running game, but that's it. Packers game, I think main concerns, like we said, I think is the running game and Rodgers getting it together. On offense, Greg, what are they doing well right now? Like where do we see issues on offense coming into this game? Obviously, it's Breece Hall breakout season. We're still waiting on the Eli Moore big game, which I think is coming because it started to look a little bit better last week again. So that'll get here. We'll have the Eli Moore game, and I will have my celebration because I love that guy and I want him to succeed. But where do you see it? Like, what are we going to be trying to do on Sunday? What do you think they are going to do well against us? If you have any thoughts there.
I'm still worried about the offensive line against the pass rush with Rashawn Gary, and they have Kenny Clark still,
Jersey guy.
And that stuff. I mean, last week they didn't really. I don't think they did too bad, but like this is the type of game where I could see the Packers kind of trying to tee off and speed Zach up a little bit. So I think just more of the same, and I think that's the team that they wanted to be, was rely on the run game, get that going. I mean, we've seen even when it doesn't work, Zach can kind of pull us out of that, like we saw in the Pittsburgh game. You're probably not going to get 100 and 100 from Breece every week, but
probably not.
But I mean, who am I to doubt him? So I think it's just more of the same, and taking more shots downfield when you have them, and trying to manufacture some big plays. We need to stop with the reverses. I think that's dead. I think everyone's figured us out there.
Why can't we just get Brax more involved in the passing game? Like that's something that I haven't been able
so
to figure
obvious
out yet. He's so obviously
like what was it? It was the Pittsburgh game, I think, where like he came in and then it's like, oh, we'll wonder what they're gonna run here, and it was a reverse. Shocker. Guy hasn't played in 15 snaps.
But it's all like last year he was a great receiver for us. Like he can clearly make things happen in the passing game. Again, it's this thing, and what I wanted to say was I saw a stat. I think we have 4 or 5 guys on pace for 50 catches or more and 650 yards or more. Like we're obviously spreading it around a lot, and you can only have so many guys getting completions and targets during a game. Only one ball, but I just wish he was. I would like to see him a little bit more involved. Jay, sorry.
You're good. Why? CJ Uzomah is no part of the offense, huh?
Because I think they're using him as an extra offensive lineman.
I think so.
I think with Dwayne Brown back, I think we'll start to see him a little bit more involved in the offense. But for the first 4 or 5 weeks, he was basically a 6th offensive lineman.
Mm-hmm. I guess that makes sense.
It was very.
That's what we need him for.
Yeah. I mean, credit to him for. I mean, he by the way, he is just pumped up to be a Jet too. Like I've never seen.
Dude just loves to be here.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to have good vibes. Again, that's not to overdo it, but like, it feels great with CJ. It feels great with Breece. It feels. I love the way DJ talks about Sauce Gardner. Like they're just brothers, and they're just going to figure it all out. And Sauce is going Rookie of the Year, and it's all going to be fine. And I love it.
And CJ, I think I'm most happy for him because he was here during the Gase thing, and he said for years, "Hey, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming." Which, I mean, as a guy like that,
every athlete says that.
Right, but I think he truly was like he believes that this team could be.
Yeah, and he's like an emotional leader. He's always in the pregame huddles and all that stuff. Like it matters to him, and it's really nice to see. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. I got nothing.
I thought you had something to say.
No, I'm just nodding my head along.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for Sunday. I I was talking to my dad earlier this week, and he was getting really upset with me because I kept saying I expect to win, and I take that back. I don't expect to win. I think this is a game that we should win. Like I don't see a reason why we can't win this game. Is kind of my perspective right now. And I know we're going to talk about the playoff picture a little bit here, but win this game, go to Denver, home for New England. They're getting all this buzz right now. They stink. The Bills game is a measuring stick. Bye week and away, and there we go. We could be a 5-4. If we are 5-4 or 4-5, we are very in the mix, and that's exciting. And that is very, very exciting. So with that,
let's get into it.
So I'm gonna pull up the NFL playoff picture here.
So as it stands, Buffalo and KC 1-2. I think it's going to be one of those races to the end where those two teams are clearly a notch above everybody else in the league, and they will. It's just one of those things where they'll just probably knock each other out, and whoever comes in first, whatever.
Lou loves a good in the hunt graphic.
I do. I love it in the hunt graphic. We're sitting here at the 5 seed right now. It's just beautiful to see. I think when's the last time we saw this? Like 5 years ago.
Never.
Yeah. So where are you thinking, where can we get slipped up here? I think a team like the Colts is not long for the world. Jacksonville can cause us some problems. Again, the Broncos game is huge. We still have this game. We still have this game to deal with. We got to play the Patriots twice. And then we got to play the Bills twice. Got to beat New England. I'm of the opinion you have to sweep New England if you want to make the playoffs. That's really where I'm at right now. And I've thought that since the beginning. And it's just getting spooky. I don't know. I don't know what you wanted to get into specifically with the playoff picture, but it's just looking pretty interesting right now.
Well, I mean, all right. So who realistically do we believe in, right? So Buffalo, KC, that's Baltimore.
That's it. That's it. I don't know.
Baltimore.
What is Baltimore?
Baltimore's weird.
Your boy Ryan Tannehill.
I'm not worried about Tennessee at all.
Chargers. They got no.
Yeah, I mean,
Chargers. They're terrible.
The Ravens are a super volatile team, right? Where there's a real discussion that maybe they could beat the second place team or maybe even win the AFC or come first place, but then you see them blow leads to the Dolphins and you see them blow leads to the Bills, and I mean we played them tough with Joe Flacco for 3 quarters, so they're just I can't put them up there.
Let me say this. Out of the 3, 4, 5, 6 maybe is going to defeat my point, but 3, 4, 5, and 6, I would say 4 has the best chance to beat these two teams on any given Sunday. I think the Ravens can play with the Bills and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And not a lot of other teams in the NFL can, so that instantly puts them a notch above all the other teams.
Okay, I'll give you that. Tennessee, I mean, I just have no confidence in anyone in the AFC South. Not one team.
No, it's a race to the bottom with those guys. They're not very good.
So they're out. The Chargers, I mean, they're the same Chargers that they've been.
They got to get healthy, and they got to get rid of that head coach because he's a dope.
Lou, I'll tell you, the Bengals are a sneaky team that's going to make a run eventually. Burrow's too good, and that offense is too good. They'll eventually figure it out, I think.
I'm officially on fluke watch with Joe Burrow. So
are you?
Oh, with Burrow,
big time fluke watch. Bengals. I mean, the Bengals are a big piece of that, so I'm on fluke watch with the Bengals for sure.
Okay, so Miami.
I'm not worried about Miami. I'm just going to be
Miami. I'm putting an asterisk because I don't know what Tua is going to be because he looked great. If it's Bridgewater, hopefully never because his brain is just mush. But when he I mean I'd rather him not play so that he's not dead in 4 years. But I mean it's the NFL, so let's see, Patriots. Jacksonville, not worried about it at all. The Broncos, until they show me they can figure it out and score more than 20 points, don't fear them at all. Patriots, I mean, until we beat them, it is what it is.
You have a fetish with the Patriots though, so you don't get to speak candidly about the Patriots.
No, I mean now I don't talk about.
We're little brothers until we prove we're not. We got to beat them.
Exactly. They're super beatable, but I also want to fucking beat them. We can't go into that game. We lost $1 billion to 7 last year.
Yeah, with Matt Jones.
Fine, whatever you say. I'm not worried about the Patriots in 2022.
56-10.
It's a completely different team.
The Browns are a pretty good team if they get Deshaun back. If they can stay in the mix until they get Deshaun back.
All I'll say about the Patriots, you have to beat them. Like we're saying,
that's a fact. You have to beat the Patriots if you want to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the fucking team.
Guys, it's nothing. It's nothing still in this Bears game. I can't believe this is a nationally televised game. They're going to have nothing pretty much.
Justin Fields update, 6 of 11 for 74 yards and an interception.
He's almost on pace.
Almost on pace.
The Browns, Browns and Bengals, that is what they are. The Raiders.
Well, listen, I think the Browns are probably the most sneaky. Well, I think the Raiders are probably pretty decent too at 1-4. But the Browns are 2-3 sitting there. Deshaun's gonna come back. It's gonna happen. And when he comes back, he's
12.
Yeah, but if they can just stay above water until week 12, they still got 6 more games after that.
I'm not a big believer in the Browns.
That's fair. I understand that.
And I have Deshaun waiting on my fantasy bench. I'm very excited about that. But
and then the Bengals, I'm not that excited about them. The Texans, not worried. The Raiders are the team that can pull. They can string together 4 wins in a row, and they're right back in the mix because of that offense. They should have beat the Chiefs on Monday night, or Sunday night, whatever it was. It seemed like they really had that game in hand. But listen, for now
is the time. Now is the time. This is kind of one of those, perfect timing thing for the Jets where they're starting to get things together. The AFC, a lot of the games we thought were tough going, pull up the Jets schedule. A lot of the games that we thought were, incredibly hard to start off are suddenly not so difficult, right? You beat the Steelers, who, that was
got out of the AFC North at 2-2, which is a stunner.
Everyone thought we were going to go 0-4. So you come out of that. You beat a Miami team that was riding high. Here we go. You beat a Miami team that was riding high. Green Bay, all of a sudden, doesn't look as difficult and as daunting of a task as it did 2 months ago.
That's
Denver, who the fuck knows what's happening with them right now? New England's New England, right? They might be still playing Bailey Zappi. Buffalo is obviously that's the crown jewel that we're looking at right now. Mm-hmm. Is that Buffalo
that's
game.
The measuring stick.
At New England, I think is more important than winning at home against New England.
Because then we get our second bye week then we get our second bye week in 3 weeks. I'm pretty excited about that.
Chicago. I'm glad they play Chicago at home.
Yeah.
Minnesota, I think, looks a lot tougher. Buffalo, obviously. Detroit. Look at that.
Yeah, look, I just to try to put it into little pieces here. I've been looking at the schedule in batches of 4 all season long, right? You got the Ravens, the first 4, Ravens, Browns, Bengals, and Steelers. We split those 2-2, right? Feels great. We're in this next 4 here. Dolphins, Packers, Broncos, Patriots. Got to split that. You split those 2 games, you're 4-4 heading into a gigantic game with the Bills. We have the Bills. We have our bye week. This is the swing. This has always been the swing game all year long. Mm-hmm. Ideally, you want to be either 5-4 or 4-5 coming out of this game. You got your bye, and then your next 4 is at New England, Bears at home, at the Vikings, who are really a pretty solid team. It seems like they're nothing super special, but they look like they are a well-oiled machine on offense. And then you're at the Bills again. The season will be decided.
Second 4. Yep, those 4.
The season will be decided right here. We will know where we are.
3 out of the 4 on the road. Coming out of the bye.
Mm-hmm. And 2 division opponents and a really good NFC team.
And that at New England game scares me because coming out of the bye and playing at New England, potentially coming off of a Bills loss, real potential for this thing to spiral out of control at that game.
But I don't think that's how we are anymore. I don't think that at all. I completely disagree with that. If we lose the Bills game, we have 2 full weeks to get ourselves together for the Patriots game. I'm not that worried.
Okay.
Minnesota will likely smoke us at home.
That's
not necessarily true. Then they just lose to
they almost lost to Chicago. Team has 0 points and 13 passing yards right now.
I think they're a good team, but I'm not going to lose my mind about them, right?
No.
The Patriots have we have the same buys. So the Patriots coming off a bye against us too. That makes it less exciting, for being honest.
Yeah.
That hurts. Okay, fine. So it'll be 2 teams coming off a bye. And you play this game. You got to win. You don't know until we get through the next 4, but you would assume you have to again go 2-2,
2-2.
and then you got to find a way to win 1, 2, 3, 4. You got to find a way to win 3 or 4 here, and then it could be playoff time. That's real shit, and that's crazy to think about, but it's right in front of our faces.
Dolphins game could be a big one down in Miami. We'll be throwing a banger tailgate.
I'll be at that game 100% if it matters.
January 8th, right? Something like that. Oh, that would be great.
Yeah,
100% I'll be there. And then when are we going to start getting flex? Because obviously we got put into a big game on Fox this weekend, but there's not a lot of afternoon games, so it's a lot easier for us to be in that position. But why can't this
later on in
this
the
game
season.
Get flex? Like, I don't know. But no, I think they start flexing earlier now.
Not week 9.
Interesting. Okay. Fair
It's
enough.
usually like, I think it's
By the way,
after Thanksgiving.
NFL flexing starts week 5 this year.
Yeah, they've been doing
Does it
flexing
really?
for a while. Yeah, they started flexing earlier this year. They
It says
changed
in
it because they
effect
wanted to just
5
control
weeks.
everything.
Up to 2
Makes
games may
sense.
be flexed in a Sunday night between weeks 5 and 10. Only Sunday afternoon games are subject to being moved in a Sunday night.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a real chance if we win the next 3, big
Sunday Night Football.
back to Sunday football, which is great, but also my worst nightmare.
Yeah, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. Week-to-week league, week-to-week situation. We'll deal with the Bills game when it gets there. You have to.
It's a lot of good vibes here.
A lot of great vibes, a lot of staying positive. Again, I think we should win this game. If we don't win this game, as long as we don't get blown out of the building, I feel great. If we play a competitive game against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers and we lose the game in the fourth quarter, fine. It's the NFC loss. I don't really care. Get ready for the Broncos. Go into Denver and beat the Broncos. That's it. It's week to week right now. I'm trying not to get too high. As the guy who loves to get way too low, I'm trying to keep it low.
I got a random text today from him being like, hey, really think A.J. Dillon is going to massacre us in the run game. Like,
it's a problem.
He's just ran at like 1:30 p.m. Say, hey, A.J. Dillon, murder us.
I spend a lot of time thinking about the Jets. It's crazy.
As an aside, do you guys remember the last time we played in Green Bay? You remember that Geno Smith game? We called that timeout that negated the game-tying touchdown.
Yeah, when Sheldon got the fumble recovery at the first play of the game and Geno hit Decker on the sideline.
Oh, that pass was maybe the most beautiful pass I've ever seen thrown in an NFL game.
Was it 2014?
Speaking of Geno, I mean, this guy's the best quarterback in the NFL. It's unbelievable.
Ever.
It's great.
It's fantastic.
I love Geno Smith.
Geno, it's Brady, it's Montana.
It's Geno, Sanchez, Brady, Montana.
Yeah.
I think
Bollinger's in there somewhere.
What was cool this also last week was all the legends were out at the game and on the field pregame, and everyone was all the players were talking about how much love they were getting. I think Braylon Edwards said something about I've given $500,000 to programs that don't give me as much love as the Jets gave me on Sunday. So that stuff's great. And the reason I thought about it was we were talking about Sanchez. I think we need to do something for all of the quarterbacks of lives past. The Mark Sanchez's, the Christian Hackenbergs, the Geno Smiths. Who's another guy? Oh, Bryce Petty. I want all those guys back. We should bring them all back. Taj Boyd's another one. We should bring them all back.
Greg McElroy.
I'm telling you, we should bring them all in for a game.
Luke Falk.
What about how funny would a video be of Zach Wilson taking coaching tips from those guys? That'd be an electric video.
Bring Trevor Siemian
I
for
don't
an
want
hour.
those guys anywhere near Zach.
No, I want them all near Zach because they all have Mark Sanchez and Geno Smith have winning DNA. I want those guys around him.
Do we bring Sam back?
100%. That's my guy. Shout out 14. He'll be back soon. I think that's it. I'm ready to go. Oh, you don't want me getting fired up about the Panthers because I will. Watch me. Watch me. PJ Walker, guy has no chance.
We get Kellen Clemens back.
Ooh, I like him.
That's a good one.
He was
Mike
good.
Vick.
No, Mike Vick doesn't count. He's not like our guy.
No.
He's different.
Yeah.
Quincy Carter.
Not our guy.
Quincy, you don't remember Quincy Carter?
Jay, anything before like 2002 doesn't matter to me.
Yo, Quincy Carter, I think was 2002 as a matter of fact, but 2004. But Quincy Carter had huge starts. I believe week 17 against the Browns. He had to step in because Chad got hurt. He hurt his shoulder, and Quincy Carter stepped in and won a game for us we needed that win to make the playoffs. It was fantastic. That was my guy.
That's the old school Jets love that I don't have in my soul, and I respect you for going through all that. I'm going to be honest because it's been ugly out there.
It's been a mess. You're not wrong.
All right. I feel good. I think we'll see where we are on Sunday. Maybe I'll have I'll give you guys a little FaceTime from the stadium Sunday from the seats, and we'll feel the energy.
Love it.
I'll be on
all right,
couch.
everyone. That was you'll be on the couch watching with a 45-minute delay.
Fuck off.
Thank you everyone for listening. Jay, you have something?
No, I was just gonna say, Greg, I'll be on that same delay. I'm direct TV out here,
Greg.
so I get the same. It's terrible. My friends send text messages 15 seconds before I get to see the play.
Shout out to all the friends who deal with it and pay for cable like adults while everyone else is watching on delay and we can't talk to your friends.
I have no need for cable.
I can't get the Jets.
Cable does not solve the issue for me in Virginia when the Jets play in New Jersey.
I have good news. It is the nationally televised game. We don't have to watch it on DirecTV. We're going to be watching.
Greg doesn't have cable, so we can't.
Oh, I have cable.
Right. So the 3 times a year the Jets are actually the national game of the year.
Yeah, Greg, I'm sure no one has ever ordered DirecTV fucking NFL Sunday Ticket on their set box. Like, what are you talking about? People have it all over the country.
It's still Sunday Ticket. It's going to be delayed.
If you're streaming it, yes, 100%. But you don't even pay for that either because you're a cheap fuck.
I did. I bought the Sunday Ticket, the Browns game, and then everything went to shit. It stopped working. It was out for 75% of the game.
That was the worst thing ever. They refunded us for that week.
Did they refund you? That's a good job by them, actually.
Shout out to them for the
That's
week.
bullshit. I didn't get fucking refunded.
Well, probably because you're not paying for it. Like, you just lied about
I
it.
am
and said you
paying
were.
for it.
All right. We're getting out of here. We're finishing up the episode because it's going to fall apart here. Let's do one final update on Justin Fields if we can.
He has done nothing. He's done nothing.
Okay, I'm not surprised by that. It's now 3-0 Commanders. Justin Fields 6 of 11 for 74 yards. Same deal. So that's unfortunate. Would hate to have drafted that guy in 2021. This has been just enough to suffer. It's feeling really good. We'll see where we are coming out of the Packers game. Thank you to Jay as always. Thank you to Greg as always. We will see you next time. Peace and love.